Hello, so my section 4 book is titled The Giver, and the author is Lois Lowry. So for a little bit of a summary of the book. So the book is basically about a perfect community, well, like a seemingly perfect community that's very highly controlled. In this community, there is no pain, suffering, deep emotions, and it has very strict rules. So basically, like, everyone and everything is the same. So in the community, there are designated birth mothers who produce children, and then those children are assigned to appropriate family units. So those family units have to actually apply for children. And there's one male and one female to each of the family units. And then citizens are assigned their partners and their jobs. So yeah. So the main character in the story is a boy named Jonas. He does have a sister named Lily, and then his father, throughout the story we learn that his father ends up taking in a struggling newborn named Gabriel. So that's kind of important to know for the end. So when Gabriel turns 12, he is chosen to be the community's next receiver of memory. This role isolates him from his friends and family, but allows him access to memories about the whole world. So everything that the community does not have access to, that they do not know about, he's able to access these memories. So he begins training with the current receiver memory, who is known as the Giver, since he's giving his memories to Jonas, who's the new receiver. He gives him these powerful memories of love, war, color, music, poverty, hunger, and there's so much more. And like I said earlier, like, the community doesn't know about any of this stuff. So then Jonas realizes the dark truth behind his society's way of living. He learns that there is no freedom, choice, and no true human connection. Everything is just very controlled. They don't have any freedom, any freedom of choice or anything like that. So also, in the community, they do something that's called releasing someone. And throughout the end of the book, sort of, yeah, it's like the end of the book, Jonas learns that it actually means that they kill someone. So he learns that his father is a nurturer, so he learns that for twins, they release the twin that's not the heaviest. So he learns that his father actually killed the one that wasn't heavier. So, and they only kept one twin. So him and the Giver came up with the plan to escape the community to find what he calls elsewhere. If he succeeds, then the memories of Jonas will be passed on to the community, and then they'll have access to all his memories. But before his plan takes place, he learns that Gabriel is going to get released because he's struggling to sleep good at night, and he's not meeting the standards that the community want him in, so they plan to release him. So Jonas takes him and ends up taking him on the journey with him. So it's both of them. Jonas is riding a bike out of the community. On this journey, he faces hunger, exhaustion. He's fearful of being caught. He's very cold, and then he uses some of the memories to keep himself warm. But in the very last scene, Jonas is climbing a snowy hill. He's weak and freezing, but he sees a sled at the top, just like the one from his very first memory that the Giver gave him. And then he and Gabriel ride down the hill, and he sees lights and he hears music coming from a house in the distance. The ending can have multiple interpretations. It's can be a bit confusing. It's one of those where you put your own ending to it. And I see the ending as Jonas and Gabriel, they do find elsewhere. So, and then that's how it ends. But for the visuals, there's no visuals in this book. It's a chapter book. But we do have the front cover page. There's branches and leaves. And then right here in the corner, you see an elderly man. And from reading, I can tell that this is the Giver. Because the Giver is an elderly old man who looks like very weak and even older than he actually is, because the memories are a lot for him to handle, because he has to handle all the memories of like the whole world for just one person. So he's the only other person in the community who understands the complexity of life. He is a teacher and mentor to Jonas, almost like a father figure to him. And then he's like one of the main characters in the story. It's Jonas and the Giver. The genre of the book is dystopian fiction. The novel depicts a perfect society without pain or conflict, but as you read, you learn that there's a lack of individual freedom, and all emotions, memories, careers, and death are controlled. So we learn that it's like actually a very flawed community. So for my direct quote, it's on page 123. Okay, so the Giver told him that it would be a very long time before he had the colors to keep. But I want them, Jonas said angrily. It isn't fair that nothing has color. Not fair? The Giver looked at Jonas curiously. Explain what you mean. Well, Jonas had to stop and think it through. If everything's the same, then there aren't any choices. I want to wake up in the morning and decide things. A blue tunic or a red one. So this is like, I chose this one because it's like the moment where like the Giver sees and Jonas sees that the world they live in, like they have no choices and no freedom. And it shows that he's frustrated with this community and that he wants freedom. And he realizes that he doesn't have that. So I think this is when like the Giver starts to be like, okay, maybe there's something we can do about it. And that's when they come up with their plan a little bit later on. So I just like that quote because it's like summarizes how controlled the community really is. So for strengths and weaknesses of the book, some strengths is that the book can spark some philosophical discussions in class, encourage readers to think critically about society and their own lives, and the writing style is very easy to understand. There's not very big words in it, and I feel like it would be appropriate for like 7th grade and up. Yeah, it's written in a way that's very simple and easy to understand. Some weaknesses is that the ending can be confusing to readers since it's not like a direct ending. You don't really know what happens. You have to like come up with your own idea of what happens. So I think that can be a little bit frustrating maybe to some readers. And then also it is a banned book just because there are some controversial topics in it. But I feel like if like 7th graders and up are reading it, I feel like they're able to handle it, and it's like it's real stuff that happens in our like daily lives. So I feel like shouldn't be banned, but it's just my opinion on it. So for my classroom activity, so I feel like this book is really great to teach about imagery and symbolism. So I can have students analyze the different symbols in the novel and maybe write an essay or do a presentation on them. So maybe they can pick one of the symbols like the color red, or like the apple or like the memories. So that could be like a bigger project, but for maybe just like a quick write or a little writing prompt, we can do like a compare and contrast activity where they compare Jonas's community to the one they live in. And then also there's a movie of the Giver. So I can also have them do a compare and contrast Venn diagram of like the similarities and the differences between the book and the movie, because I did watch the movie and there's a lot of differences. Like there's some things the same, but there's also a lot of differences. So I think that would be fun, and they get to watch the movie at the end. So, but yeah, that's my Shakespeare book.